Recruiter here, the headless headhunter, getting you ahead of your job search by reviewing your resumes. The resume we have up first is, I don't know, you didn't tell me. This person is a recent graduate. They have received no callbacks yet or interviews, and they've been applying to at least 10 to 15 jobs per day, 50% rejections, 50% ghosted. So, first off, applying to 10 jobs a day at a minimum, actually very good. That is a healthy habit to get a job. Ideally, it should be about 50 jobs in a week. If you do that and your resume is average to mid, you will get at least one interview. So the fact that you are not getting a single interview out of that much work means your resume is the problem, or your phone number on your resume is the problem, which happens more often than you think. So the first problem with this, and this is common, is they don't teach you this in college, and I really wish they taught CS grads this in college, because man, it would solve a lot of problems. What they should teach is once you graduate, so again, this does not apply to internships, this applies only after you graduate and you're looking for your first full-time job. Corporate world hires based on stack. So as an example, the qualifications I would look for in a front-end developer are going to be different than a back-end developer. Obviously, that makes a little bit of sense, but almost every single company breaks it down into front-end, full stack, back-end Java, back-end Python, and then a couple of other languages like .NET or Ruby on Rails back-end. Some of them are there. Or COBOL, shockingly. Actually, I've not recruited for COBOL, so maybe it's a different thing. But basically, you need to pick a stack. So front, back, full, and if it's back-end, you need to tell me which is your primary language. Because if you are applying for a job that cares only about Python, your Java experience is barely noticeable. And that is a problem. So, first things first, pick a stack, because you stated software developer or back-end engineer. Cool, that's like anything. You can't say that. I know it's going to weird. It sounds like I want to work in the government. Cool, what part of the government? The government. There's a billion different types of the government. You need to be specific. So, that does not work. So we need to fix this into a specific kind. The most common and hottest right now is full stack or probably Python engineer, one of those two. So we're going to need to pick a stack. Those are going to be the qualifications. As I see Java first on your resume, I'm going to try to show you what it looks like if I would find a back-end Java developer, which, let me get it up real quick so I can actually do that for you all. But yeah, you need to be specific. So this is a Java developer, right? I want to see Java, Spring, Spring Boot, SQL, RESTful APIs, microservices, OOP, Git, other APIs, Maven, Cloud Architecting, SDLC, MongoDB, and this is extra credit, but I need to see the other stuff first. So you may be thinking, well, Lee, what are you talking about? They have Java right here. They have Spring Boot right here. They have OOP, AWS. Here's the sad part. This doesn't count. Nothing in a technical skills section can be used to move you forward in an application. 99% of the time. There are always going to be exceptions, but a technical skills section is worthless to you. Most of the time it hurts your application. So the fact that you are not getting anything is because you put all of your qualifications in parts where I cannot actually use them. So this part can be deleted. Your education should be up top. This is Java in the US. I did see now that you're in Canada. There's going to be some slight differences in qualifications in Canada, but it's still close enough. So your education should be here. And then this, right? The only times you want a summary, there's really only 3 times, is 1, if you need to explain a visa because they don't know how to work with your visa. 2, you are relocating, which in this case you may be. Or 3, you are changing industries. And I don't mean like changing from Python to Java. I mean turning from like a car mechanic to a medical doctor. Like that's the kind of change that you would need, unless there's a degree like you went to school. That would explain that change. So otherwise, this can be deleted. But yes, if you are relocating, you need to put where you are relocating to. Otherwise, it is a red flag. And that is also probably the problem with this resume, is it has a bunch of red flags. So A, open to relo, always a red flag. You need to show that you are already moving to the area before you submit the resume. Otherwise, it is a big old flag. They would be like, now hold on a minute. They're probably not going to actually do it. Next red flag is this giant technical skill section, and none of it's written here. And that's like it. Yeah, so you need to be specific, right? And here's why a technical skill section doesn't count. So everybody says use the skill section. I can't, because we're not keyword hunting. There's a misunderstanding that recruiters are searching for keywords. You assume these are keywords. They are not keywords. They are qualifications. And the difference in that is that I need to see how you use this and the reason or result of you using it. If I cannot see how you use Java or Spring Boot and the reason or result of using it, I cannot move you forward. That is why it is a qualification, because for qualifications, you need to show how you did it and the reason or result of you doing it, and where you did it. The where is mainly because it's under a project or an internship, but not here, because this doesn't show it. Okay, you have experience with AWS? Cool, where? Here, okay. Did I see AWS? Okay, good. So that means you only have a year of experience, but what if we need 3? Can't find it. What about Node? I think I actually found Node in this. Where's Node? Nope, all the way down here. So this is a project, but you wrote it up here. So you don't have a year or 2 of this in corporate experience. This is why you do not want to put it up here. You want to put it here so that we actually can find it. You don't even need all of these. You usually need 75%. But if I go through this, right, I see JavaScript, which I don't care about. You said backend engineer, so I don't care about JavaScript for this, really. I care about Java. I don't care about UI. None of this is good except for API, which I found right here. Down here, I don't know what Firebase is. I'm not looking for it. Workflows, again, I don't care that you migrated critical models to workflows, to Firebase or whatever. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for this. It's, to use a food metaphor, if you go to a hamburger place and you order a hamburger because you just want a hamburger and they give you a plate of spaghetti, you're going to be annoyed. That's what it is. This is all spaghetti. You gave me entirely spaghetti with the exception of API. API is actually something I would be using. And then down here, which is okay, is I don't really care about Laravel. React.js can be, AWS and MySQL is great, but that's only 3 things. And then I have to go all the way down here, which I did not have time to do, because remember, we have 20 seconds to find this. That is GitHub. So that is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish things here? That's not 75%. That's close to like 30-something%. So where's Java? You state it right here. Where is it? That's JavaScript down there, all the way at the projects. No one's going to get that far down. So pick a stack, focus your resume towards that stack, and actually write these as qualifications, not keywords, because it's not AI doing it. I bet this person thinks that AI has been rejecting the resume left and right. The answer is no. It's a human that doesn't know how to probably read this. And before you state that, oh my gosh, he just doesn't know how to do anything in tech, I am an above average tech recruiter. I have taught other teams how to recruit for tech. Every time I have done this, I have increased the volume and quality of hires of tech people in the company. You are looking at a better than average tech recruiter, and I could not move this resume forward. Most other recruiters probably don't even know as much about this as me. So you need to pick a stack. You need to show them in qualifications. And that goes for everybody else that's not a computer science person too. This is the biggest disconnect. It's everybody puts the stuff here. Cool, can't use it. It needs to be here. It needs to show me how you did it and the reason and result of you doing it. Right? It can also be under a project or an internship. That's fine as well. But it needs to be in one of those 3 sections. So stop with these professional summaries. Stop with these disgusting technical skill sections that actually hurt your chances and not increase them, and show me what you've done, because they are qualifications. They're not AI. It's not the ATS rejecting you. It's the human. I have once saw a person apply. It took me 20 to 30 seconds. That's all I had. And I rejected them. They probably think it's AI. It's not. It's because I couldn't find out what it was in the small amount of time that I have. I cannot spend 2 minutes poring over your resume. I do in fact have 15 seconds to 20 seconds. I give an extra 5 seconds for the meter yeet, because like I have to verbalize it and that slows me down. But if I was doing it by myself, it would be 15 seconds in my head. So that is your big issue, is you don't show me that you're qualified. That's why. This is not qualifications. The API is. The React, the AWS, the MySQL is. The AWS you already mentioned there, and the whatever other is. So you basically barely show me that you are qualified, and that is why you get rejected. So I'm not trying to be mean. I just trying to tell you the truth, and this is the biggest disconnect between, well, basically candidates and the hiring managers and recruiters, is they assume that this is what we want. This is further. I could not see a world in which this would ever be something I would be looking for. So that's all I can do for this resume. I do hope it helps. I'm trying to be cruel to be kind so that you know, because I'd rather this be the harshest review you have ever done. But yeah, this just would not work. So if you ever need more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. That is where I get these qualifications, because I have to look them up. I don't know these by heart. And that is where I help people a little bit more with like interview tips and more how to rewrite sentences and all that kind of stuff. So like, comment, subscribe. It does help me out. Share it with your friends, and let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a lot of stuff. So first off, you still need to be specific. When you're looking for an internship, you don't need to, in software engineers and others, it's always boils down to usually about 3 things. It's really rare for an internship to ever care about anything other than 3 specific things. So the first thing they care about is your degree. That's a bit given. They need to see that you have done that. The second is they need you need to show a very, very basic understanding of the subject matter. So in this case, I don't know which one, so subject matter, right? And then the other thing is you need to show that you can take criticism and work well with others. So I want to be very clear. A lot of interns put, you need to show leadership. No, you're an intern. Unless the role specifically requires a lot of leadership, like some consulting roles, I don't want to see how you led others. I want to see how you got led. Your job is to get told what to do, right? That's what you are in an intern. This may be your first corporate job. And if this is your first corporate job, well, they need to see that you can do that. That you are not going to crash out when they say, hey, your X is not great, please fix it. Or this is what happens when you work 9 hours a day or 2 hours a day or whatever it is. So they need to show that you can work well with others and take direction and criticism. And that's it. Master's level and PhD interns, those are going to be different. But man, that plane is always loud. But besides master's and PhD, this is it. Almost every single internship is always going to boil down to this. Basic knowledge of subject matter, degree, work well with others, and taking direction and criticism. So the problem with this, and did you tell me anything about your search? I would like to know if this is a good resume to get internships in general. No, because it's too generalized, right? Like a good internship resume for a back-end software engineer will not be a good internship resume for a compiler engineer. So I don't know what a compiler engineer is. I could barely find it. But for a software engineer, I'm really just looking for a basic knowledge of the tech stack. That's it. So like Python and Docker and AWS and RESTful APIs. That's like it. So I will try to see if I can find this in 20 seconds. Let's find out. Okay, this is good. Expected to graduate. This is not related to software engineering in the back end, at least the ones I've done. Compiler. Okay, so this is mainly compiling stuff. Yeah, I don't... Okay, so this is not related to software engineering, or at least not that part. And then down here, this is actually related to software engineering. I actually have some of the stuff, but I don't know if I don't have enough stuff. Yeah, you also don't show how you can work well together with others. So yeah, first off, I don't think this is a software engineer position because your resume doesn't read like one. I don't even know what... I think this is a game dev position? I don't know what you are. You're trying to do too many things. So pick a lane, right? Like, again, your resume needs to be specific to a specific job title. A compiler engineer intern and a software engineer intern and a game dev intern are going to require different things. Yes, they will still require your degree and the ability to work well with others and take criticism, but beyond that, everything else is going to be a little bit different. So, as an example, I care about C++. I don't care about the rest of this. And then if I was doing a intern for a software engineer, this stuff actually I would kind of care about. This is pretty solid. But the rest of it, I don't really care that much about. Now, this part I do. again, you filled it with a bunch of stuff I wouldn't care about for a software engineer intern. So if you're going for a compiler engineer, which again I've not heard of, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, it just means I haven't heard of it, it needs to be a separate resume from the one you use for the software engineer. And you also need to tell me for both of them how you worked well together as a team and took direction and criticism, because I haven't seen any of that. That is critical. Every single intern seems to like not put that down, but no, it's not a given. If it's not on your resume, it doesn't exist. And if I don't see that you can work well with others or take direction and criticisms, the manager is not going to let me move you forward. Not me, the manager. So that's all I can do for this one. Is it really just doesn't have anything? Like, I don't know what this is. I guess this is a hacking resume, maybe a cyber security one. I have no idea. I hope they can tell me in the comments, but let's go to the next one. This is a resume review of a research assistant for a think tank. I will be perfectly frank with you. I've never recruited for this type of position, but they gave me at least 2 companies to get these qualifications for. That's why it looks absolutely insane. And I think some of it is even being cut off. But let's see if I can't shrink this. So this will be bachelor's degree isn't relevant. There we go. So this person has stated that I just graduated in May with a political science and economics degree. I am trying to get my foot in the door with entry-level public policy places, but I've not heard back from a single place. I've all started applying to more admin roles, such as legal secretary, administrative assistant, and even some research internships, and not heard anything back either. So probably why, well, I don't know why yet because I haven't reviewed it. So what we're looking for in a research assistant for a think tank, I despise that airplane, is they want to see at least a year of relevant experience doing something similar to this. They want to see your bachelor's degree. They want to see that you can do research and writing. They want you to be able to interpret and distill complex data into clear, concise formats, or as I would like to describe it as, complex topics to non-technical people. This is like one of the most generalist skills you can learn is doing this. Proficiency with, again, Microsoft Office Suite and Excel. So, familiarity with research tools, database, and statistics, that you can do basically project coordination, event management, that kind of thing, and that you hold the same values as whatever that think tank is. So that was at least from the 2 that I was able to find, which you really should find more than 2 jobs, but I don't know enough about think tanks to help find more than that. So can I find this in 20 seconds? Probably not. Let's find out. All right. Okay, that's actually good. Research reports, economic plans. Okay, conducted research state apprenticeships, not needed. Policy, writing, macroeconomics, that's good, but where's the other stuff? Chief of staff? Yeah, okay, so I don't think this is what they're looking for. Not always. I think your first sentence is actually kind of okay, but the rest of it is. In addition, the resume that will get you a job as a research assistant at a think tank will fail to get you a job as an admin assistant or a legal secretary. You need to make sure you are specific with your actual job title. Your resume should be coded towards your job title. If a resume can do more than one job title, it's probably a bad resume unless those job titles are exactly the same. So, what did I find? What did I miss? I did find Excel and Microsoft Office. No, I only found Excel and PowerPoint. I did not see Microsoft Office. Yes, I'm aware that that is equivalent, but if it's implied, it's not there. I need to see Microsoft Office as well. Okay, here, Word, good. And I did see admin support to other stuff. That's actually pretty solid. I like that. Maintaining databases and spreadsheets. But then this is okay, but reviewed and analyzed state economic development plans, recommending best practice for executive review. It's okay, right? But it's not, like, again, this puts into a little bit of writing, but you don't really tell me more about it. Like, I kind of want to know more about this. Like, what was the detailed work plan? What about it did you do? What about it did you use analytical skills on? You just told me that you worked on it. You kind of alluded to it. Conducted background research on state apprenticeship laws and programs for senior staff policy proposals. See, I like how you wrote that one, but I don't know if that's really what they're looking for. Again, like conducted background research. Well, like what did that research entail? How did you do that research? This is specifically for a research position. This is where you actually do want to go more into the details a little bit. Authored both internal and external. Again, this is kind of my problem with this. In this entire thing, I have found, and I'm going to remove them from the list of stuff that I found, this and that. That's it. So I found 2 things out of that. I need more than that. Then we go down here. Completed courses in policy. Right? Well, I don't care that you completed courses. I care that you do. This is a bit of a misconception as people say, like, well, I can learn. They don't want you to learn. They want you to have already learned. You need to be able to say that you've already done it. So again, this doesn't really offer anything. Led a research project and presentation examine correlation between state poverty levels and temporary assistance to needy families. This might show that you hold the same values. So this one might actually qualify if you're specifically doing that. But what do you mean led a research? Like how many people did you lead? Was it just you? Were you explaining to people? Were you coaching to people? So this one maybe, but again, you already kind of did that. I don't know what you've done with statistical tools. Served as assistants, background research, potential aid supervisors, trust, successfully defended. Yeah, no one's going to go down there. So yeah, this is my problem is you only give me this. Do you have a year of relevant experience for this? Maybe. Maybe you do. Again, that's kind of I might be giving that to you. But I don't see how you explain complex topics to non-technical people. I don't see that you were familiar with research database and statistical tools. I don't see that you've done event coordination and planning and project management. And this is from 2 of the ones that you told me. This is specifically from Brookings and American Progress. This is what they were asking for, and you only met about 40 to 50% of it. You need at minimum 75%. So yes, this formatting is not good. You want to follow this formatting. It's on my website. You can find it. It should be in the link below. That's how you do it. But it's not a formatting issue. It's that you don't tell me this stuff. You do. Sorry, bachelor's degree. You do hold that I get. Actually, wait. There it is. Yeah, bachelor's is already down there. That's written so weirdly. But like, I need to see more. Like, your job as a research assistant is half secretarial, half actual research. I also don't see that you show the values. Like, maybe this. Like, they really like to see values. So, yeah, I just don't see enough to really move you forward. Like, these are incredibly competitive. I know enough about this to know that they are very competitive. And you don't have enough. You don't show enough. Remember, this is qualifications. I'm not looking for random keywords. I need to see how you did it and the reason and result of doing it. And most of the time what you did here is you don't really either tell me what I'm looking for, or you don't tell me the reason and result you did it, or how you did it. So like, conducted background research on state apprentices laws and program for senior staff and policy proposals. That tells me the what. What did you do is background research. The reason and result, it also tells me who it was for. But you didn't tell me how you did it. This is where the how matters. Like, how did you conduct research? That is what they're asking. I don't know. Did you use research database and statistical tools? The how can be the what, but in this case, it's not. You just tell me what you did and the reason and result you did it. I need how you did it. Again, using publicly available data. Okay, but what is the reason you did that, and how did you use public data? Like, what part of the data? You imply what you think I need, and you don't tell me. I need you to be obvious. I need you to slap me in the face with it. So, that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a remote job seeker. They stated, I have years of sales and collection experience. I'm seeking something remote, but the search has been horrible. Yes, remote work is very difficult to get. Remote work is insanely hard to get, especially for entry level. I think it was, I'm trying to remember the exact statistic. Y'all can correct me in the comments, but it was in 2003 or 2004 in November, approximately 12% of the overall jobs in the market were remote jobs, but they contained 50% of the people that do apply to jobs. So that basically means that if you are applying for a remote job, you are literally competing with 50% of the available workforce in your industry. People can correct me because, again, I don't have that stat off the top of my head, but it was at least close to that. So remote work is always going to be exceptionally competitive. I'm not a picky person when it comes down to remote work, but I need something in the $18 to $25 range. Do you have any idea, suggestion, or what I can do? Well, yes. So first off, this is nothing. Follow with what I've been saying before is you cannot create a generalist resume. Generalist resumes fail. You stated sales. Okay, those are qualifications for sales. It's been a bit since I've done a sales person, but if I'm looking for sales, I would need, see, what is this, a business development rep? So for like a business development rep, I would need this: Salesforce, outreach, Zoom info, cold calling, customer industry, BAS, that kind of stuff. If I want to do, say, admin assistant, which again is a different type of qualification, or project coordinator, which both of those can be remote, what I want is going to be this. Those are different, except for Microsoft Office and Excel. I swear that's in almost every single white collar job. So by the principle of you saying, what can I do, Lee? I can't help you, because why would I hire an admin assistant that has CompTIA training? Why would I care if you had a cybersecurity one? Why would I care if you've done peace officer stuff if I'm looking for an admin assistant? And then we can go back to sales. Why do I care that you have CompTIA? It's not relevant. Your resume needs to be relevant for a specific industry. And this tells me nothing. So yes, the formatting is awful. It really is. But a bigger issue is I don't care about recruiting and hiring. I'm a recruiter unless I'm recruiting for a recruiter role. I don't care about account management. I don't care about retail operations unless I'm actually doing that. I do care about being bilingual. That's actually a huge plus. If you are bi or trilingual, that is a big benefit to put on your resume. It's very difficult to search for people that are bi or trilingual, so it's very good to put on your resume. But the rest of this is all unrelated. If I'm looking for a recruiting and hiring manager, I'm not looking for logistics, merchandising, and training and coaching stuff. So this is almost entirely unrelated to the other stuff. I don't care about hardworking. Everybody says that. Energy. You've said nothing in this entire resume, and that's the problem. You also doxed yourself and did not read my instructions and put your full name up at the top. So don't do that. So, like, yeah, this resume is not focused. You also did not put the months you started on this stuff. Anytime under your experience, your internships, or your projects, you need to put the months. I need the months and the years. You don't need to put it up for your education, but for the experience section, I need that. Otherwise, I'm going to assume it's the worst of those numbers. So, well, I guess projects you really don't need to put the months because they're projects, but for internships and work experience, you do. So yeah, I don't know what you can do because I can't tell what you can do based on a resume. That is not the proper procedure. You don't make a resume and then decide what you're qualified for. You find out what you're qualified for and then make a resume. So I can't really help you because there's nothing here. There's nothing that shows me you would be great for any of these roles because it's so broad that it's useless. And that's the problem. Generalized resumes fail. So that's all I can do for this one because there's really nothing I can find. I don't even know what role you're going for. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of an AI engineer. I had to re-record this one because I had an error in the video, so I already did a 20-second review of this, and the answer was I could not find what I was looking for. So what I need as an AI engineer is AI, LLM, NLP, Python, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Cloud, NumPy, R, MATLAB, SDLC, CI/CD, DevOps. One of them, RAG, ML, LangChain, skibidi-learn, Pandas, Agentic, although it's not a problem if you have like 2 or 3 of them. And can you explain stuff to non-tech people? They stated they are looking for a blunt point of view for recruiters. I like your videos, but I could use some advice. So, first things first, I think this person is in India, and I will let you know. I am a US-based recruiter. Sometimes my advice does not work outside the US, and there's not much I can do about that. So, be careful applying my advice outside the US. I have gotten people jobs in Africa, Canada, the EU, and the UK, so it does sometimes translate, but it's not always perfect. I know the US market and I know it well, but other markets are just by their nature different. So, and there's a couple of little bitty parts in each of them that I'm just not going to be aware of. So, when I looked for 20 seconds to find this stuff, I found literally like 2 things. So I found AI and Python, and that's it. So Part of your problem is you just don't show what I'm looking for. Is you kind of jam pack this with like what you think stuff is and not what I actually need. In addition, your education is at the bottom and it should be up at the top. So what I would like is you to simplify this. First off, use the formatting. I don't care if this is the formatting for a barista. The software engineer formatting is the same as a barista. A sales manager is the same formatting as a barista. The difference is, and this is how you get it, once you're a director level, that the resume advice kind of gets a little wonky. So once you get to the director level, this does not fit. But before that and everybody else, that's fine. You need to use that formatting. So, but don't put TLDR up here. I get what you're going for. I don't like it, but I do get what you're going for. Points for creativity, but not enough to pass. So it should just be a summary of what you do. You don't need to say TLDR. You just say like identified roadblocks to do X and Y. The second is this is entirely crammed with random words that I'm not necessarily looking for. If I am looking for an AI engineer, I don't know what POC is. I don't know what I don't know why I need Q426. I don't know why I need Mistral or Llama or Agno or QA and SME. I don't know why I need Architected is good. I don't know why I would necessarily need Fast API. Some of them may ask for this, but I don't know why you put backend in this and Docker and Azure or saved money, right? Like what I'm looking for is what did you do? And I don't really see that. I still don't know what you do. You led the development of an AI platform, I guess, but I don't know what you did with it because this is so confusing. This hurts my eyes to look at. I need you to make it simpler. A better sentence would have been, led our AI, architected our AI whatever, using Python, some of the other stuff from here, X and Y. Then the next sentence can be, secured approval from C-suits. So stakeholders would count as C-suits. That's fine. By doing X and Y, right? Like by explaining technical stuff to them. You just don't really tell me. It's kind of a blob. And then I go down here and there's still like nothing. Like there's C and C++ and CI/CDs and PM approved and runners and self-hosted and pipelines and priority features and health metrics. This is actually, but not at no point do I see what you actually use the AI for. I don't know why this is an AI. I don't know what this is. This is really confusing to me. So I need you to write this better. Like down here, which I can kind of show. So down here, you said architected full production platform using Python, Fast API, React, Docker, deployed on DigitalOcean with a super base data integration. This is what I would more closely be looking for. I don't know if I need those exact qualifications, but I would be looking for something similar to that. So this is your problem, is this is your only real good sentence, and I had to go all the way down to the bottom. You need to fix how you write these sentences, right? Like, they're too technical. They're crammed down. The font is so small. A human is reviewing these. Remember, this is a human that is reviewing them, and because a human is reviewing them, I can't read this. This is insanely difficult to read. I have 15 seconds. I ain't going to find that. So you need to make it simpler. You need to focus on the things that are actually important to what we're looking for, and also write how you explain stuff to non-tech people. So make it simple. Remember, like, everybody says, oh, recruiters are idiots, but everybody writes stuff for us like we're PhDs. Write stuff for us like we are idiots. You'll get more jobs. I swear to you. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of I don't know. I really don't know. I think there is some language barriers between this. I am going to read what they wrote verbatim. And I want to be clear, I actually really respect people that can speak multiple languages. I am terrible at other languages. I can sometimes barely speak English, and English is the only language I can speak. So I think there is some confusion with translation with this. So they stated internet backend developer, but again, we need to specify what kind of stack. So this is what they said verbatim. I don't make fun of them for this, because again, learning multiple languages is very impressive. So I mainly use LinkedIn Quick Apply. It don't work. 400 plus 0 interviews. So I'm assuming they're saying they've only used LinkedIn Easy Apply and they've gotten 0 interviews for it. So first off, yeah, that kind of tracks. Easy Apply is easier to apply to, but your chances are less. Should you still apply using Easy Apply? Yeah, it takes like a minute, but your chances are also low. So you really do want to be using every other form, like the longer versions. Unfortunately, your chances are better because people don't apply to those. So the fact that there are 400 and not gotten anything, it does make sense because they need to. This is actually a bit of a confusion that I think a lot of people outside the US have, is to work in the United States, you need a work visa first. While it is theoretically possible for a company to give you a work visa from outside the United States, if you are applying to remote jobs, they won't do that because you're already working remote. They don't need you to. So you need the ability to work in the United States first. You need that is why there is a question of, are you legally eligible to work in the United States? If yes, that's fine. But if no, we can't move you forward. It doesn't matter how good the resume is. If you're not legally allowed to work in the country that we are, paying you from, we can't move you forward. It's just not physically possible. So we might be able to hire you in that country, but then we pay you in that country's salary. So that's part of the problem, and I think that's one of them. I didn't find a lot of opportunity in LinkedIn in my country, so I apply a lot for remote jobs. And I didn't find any internships, so I start applying for entry-level and junior roles. Yeah, but that's the problem, is it doesn't matter how good your resume is if you're not legally allowed to work in that country. I don't know how it's like for other countries. I want to be clear. Maybe it is easy to do that in the UK or in India or in Canada. I truly don't know. But in the US, there is a reason almost every single call with a recruiter starts with, are you legally authorized to work in the country? Because if not, we can't move you forward. And there is another check at the end of it. Before you can even get hired, you still need to show that you can prove to do that. Usually it's like a Social Security and another document. It's called the I-9 document. But yeah, if you can't pass that, we can't move you forward. It doesn't matter how good your resume is. It doesn't matter how fast you apply. It doesn't matter how many boxes you tick. If you're not allowed to work in the country that you apply to, you can't work in the country you apply to. That is a governmental thing. The company would get sued for it. So that's probably your problem. Again, I don't know in your area. Maybe there are ways to do that, but at least in the United States. Started playing. This was after I graduated from my bachelor's degree, and I think this is one of the main reasons I have no success. I got one interview for direct apply and email from a Telegram channel, and the job I get was from where I was when I print the resume and apply in person. Yes, because you are legally authorized to work in that place. If you're able to apply in person, chances are you are authorized to work in that place. So whereas resume, no one also applied for the teaching job because it was 8 weeks and very low salary. This way I get it. So I think your main problem is you're applying to places you're not legally allowed to work. Maybe you're not. Again, I'm just guessing at this. But assuming you're not, we're going to make the assumption that you are applying to places you're legally allowed to work. I can review this resume as I would for a US developer. And the problem is this also, I don't know what you are. It's formatted so weirdly. I need you to format it like this so I can actually read it. So this is a nightmare of like what it is. You also fully doxed yourself. But again, there is probably a issue in translation. So I saw Python. So maybe you're a Python developer. But I don't know. So can I find these in 20 seconds from this one page? Let's check. So again, this is fine. I can't use anything here. Can't use anything here. Top Python, good. SQL, good. OOP can be beneficial, but then that's a half point. Nothing. Django, good. AI is a bonus. Yeah, you just don't need enough. Like, this is what I'd be looking for per a Python dev. So I think you first off need to decide to apply to places where you are legally authorized, allowed to work, Because, again, it doesn't matter how good the resume is. It doesn't matter. If you're not legally authorized to work, you're not legally authorized to work. But besides that, you need to pick a stack. Like, what do you mean by internet developer? It's Python dev, or a Java developer, or full stack developer, or front end developer, or COBOL developer. Probably not COBOL. Or Ruby on Rails developer, or .NET, or C. But it's really rare to just have a developer. And it does seem like you are closer to Python. So if it is Python, then this is what I would need to move you forward. So that's all I can do for this resume. That's all I can do for this resume. Thank you all for watching. If you ever need more help, join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. That is where I get these qualifications from. That is where I help people out more. And until next time, I'm here to help you get ahead of your job search.